Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com. Hello, and thank you for being a listener. Before we get into the episode, I wanted to let you know about a special offer being given to the new warehouse listener. That's you. Mobile Robot Guide is offering 10% off just for you when you purchase the Warehouse Solutions Buyer's Guide. Just use promo code WarehousePod10 at mobilerobotguide.com. That's WarehousePod10. This is your comprehensive guide for all things autonomous mobile robots. That's WarehousePod10. And for more info, go to thenewwarehouse.com.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse Podcast, bringing you a new episode today. Today I'm going to be joined by Tracy Hansen. She is President, North America, and Global CMO at ProGlove. ProGlove is bringing a really cool solution to the marketplace. It is a hands-free scanning device for scanning barcodes and doing picking and things of that nature throughout the warehouse and different logistics applications. We're going to talk to her about what ProGlove does exactly and a little more about their solution and kind of the benefits of that and some recent partnerships they've had, and also talk about how ProGlove is becoming a part of Industry 4.0 and the overall digital transformation of warehousing, and also how that digital transformation is kind of happening and how it's going to keep going over the next few years and into the future as well. So Tracy, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great, Kevin. Thanks for having me here today.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. Thanks for talking to me. I wanted to get started. I want to know a little bit more about you. The bio that I got from you says you are a student of disruptive innovation. So I'm curious, what does that mean exactly, and how did that being a student of disruptive innovation kind of lead you to becoming a part of ProGlove?
Thanks. I came across that term years ago, disruptive innovation, and fell in love with it and embraced it. For me, disruptive innovation is really about looking for things out of the ordinary and extraordinary that create movement and momentum in everything you do, whether it's technology, process, team building, anything that brings people together, focuses on outcomes, and really pushes the boundaries of what people think is possible. So I heard it, loved it, and God, I've probably been living it for about 20 years now. And
nice.
So the follow-up part to your question around what does it mean and how did it bring me to ProGlove, one of the things that I fell in love with years ago was process and process engineering, and thinking about how technology coupled with process can create just massive movements in the universe. And when I started speaking to ProGlove about what was possible and where their head was at, they introduced something new to the conversation, and that was really human-centered design and thinking about how building technology with humans at the center of it can really bring disruption to an industry that is going through its own digital transformation. So it seemed to be the perfect storm of all the things I love, that all was being brought together into what we call ProGlove. So I hopped on the opportunity, and I'm delighted to be here now for almost a year, and everything I'd hoped for is true. The team, the founders, and everybody we work with is really thinking in a mindset around humans at the center of the workforce, and how we can enable them to be more productive and more disruptive in what they're doing to create better outcomes.
Interesting, very interesting. Yeah. I think it's interesting that you said about the human-centric aspect, because I think so much of the transformation that you're talking about and this innovation within our space in the distribution logistics arena has now become so human-centric. It's about, making the worker's job easier, really. And I think that you guys at ProGlove, it seems like you guys are doing that. We're going to hear more about how you guys are doing that. But I do have a question actually for you as you're talking about disruptive innovation. Since disruptive innovation is really never ending and you're a student of disruptive innovation, do you think that the student of disruptive innovation ever becomes the teacher of disruptive innovation?
Oh, I hope not. I hope not. I hope that my passion for learning keeps me open to all sorts of possibilities. I'm happy to share things I've learned. I'm happy to talk to people and talk through things. But being a disruptive innovator and embracing that moniker means that I have to be open to learning and to challenging ideas and thinking about everything from the smallest microbe all the way up to the biggest universe and everything in between. And if I ever know it all, then I just become a know-it-all. And who wants that?
Yeah, you're right. I don't think anybody wants that. It's always important to keep learning, right? So it's good that you have that mindset, and I'm happy that you could share the concept with our listeners as well. So why don't we get into a little bit about ProGlove? ProGlove is, the name is pretty explanatory. It's a glove, right? But it's a very high-tech glove. So why don't you tell us a little bit about ProGlove and talk about the solutions that you guys provide?
Absolutely. And this is going to be a great learning and challenge for me because it's such a visual and sensory device. I'm going to try to bring your listeners along on this journey as I describe it and welcome any feedback on how well I did later. But okay. the device is a glove or a wrap. So you can imagine if you would putting on a glove or half a glove is the best way I can describe it. A wrap that encircles the back of your hand in your palm. And between the forefinger and your thumb, there's a trigger that is the key to activating the scanner. And what occurs on the back of your hand, so you can probably visualize this, Kevin, turn your hand over so you're looking at the back of your hand. Okay. And maybe if you have a matchbox car or even a matchbox with matches in it or something that's super light. The thing I like to use when I'm showing people is maybe a stack of Post-it notes. Okay. And you put that on the back of your hand, and that's about how much our device weighs. So you can imagine when you have this glove or wrap on your hand that fits snug but not too tight, all of the contours of it really form around your fingers, your digits, and then the device to trigger it is just right there at the touch of your thumb and a matchbox on the back of your hand. You forget you have this device on. You can go about your day, your work day, wearing this entire device and wrap without even remembering that you have it on. You can literally type, you can drive, you can move boxes, you can do presentations. We've had customers do cartwheels with the device on just to show what could happen with it. And you start to realize how held back you are as a human being when you have to hold things in order to get your job done. So the concept of hands-free really is empowering for people who put it on for the first time and they shift from holding, let's say, a pistol scanner, right? And a pistol scanner, if you can imagine, fill up a 24-ounce water bottle, hold that in your hand and try to do a cartwheel. You can't. Yeah. So you start to visualize and start to get a sense of the freedom that an employee or a person who's in logistics can get if now they have both of their hands completely available to them to do the job that they have in front of them. And then as very, very easily trigger the device for scanning, keep going on your day. It is fun when I get to see people try it on. And more than once, I will tell you, I've given it to somebody to try on, And then they walk away, and I'm like, no, you have to give it back. You can't take it with you. But they do. They wander off because they forget they have it on, and I have to go chase them down. So it's fun, it's light, and it works.
Right. And I think that's a really, really good thing about it being so light. And I mean, when I look at it, it's similar to, I guess I would describe it as almost like a workout glove, right? With the fingers cut off, kind of.
Yeah. That's a great visual for people who they can also go to the website ProGlove.com and check it out and get the visual there as well. But I'm going to steal that from you. I'm going to be that learning mode.
Go ahead.
It's like a workout glove. Absolutely.
Definitely. And I think the other thing that's interesting too about it, if you think about, most people that are working in a warehouse, I know for myself, from my experience, we have requirements that, people need to wear gloves anyway while they're working. So it's not much different than something they'll already be wearing. So it's not like all of a sudden, I'm wearing something that I'm not used to wearing. Usually people working around in the warehouse are wearing work gloves anyway. So it's just a different type of glove.
Totally. One of the things that we discovered, again, human-centered design, human-centric approach to everything. We learned from our customers, because we originally had just the glove itself. We learned from them that they had requirements to wear different types of glove depending on the job that they were doing.
Right.
Some needed to be temperature controlled. Some needed to be lighter weight or thinner so that they could feel things. Others needed to be more rugged because they were around sharp objects. That's the evolution of the wrap for us, because now somebody can put on the glove that they need to wear that's specific to whatever use case they have, specific to whatever they need to accomplish, and still get the benefit of ProGlove scanning technology, because the wrap will just naturally fit around whatever glove that they need to wear. So it's the best of both worlds for quite a number of our customers who are looking for that flexibility to choose the ultimate glove that they need to wear for their job.
Definitely. That's interesting that you have the different types too. I think that's important, because safety is such an important part of our world, and like you said, there's a lot of different environments as well. So I think that's really important. So let's talk a little bit about, there's obviously, we've been talking about this human-centric design, right? So there's kind of two parts to a solution, right, in the warehouse. There's the benefits overall for the company in terms of like efficiency, productivity gains, but then there's also the benefits for the individual user themselves as well. So talk to us a little bit about the benefits on both sides of that for ProGlove.
Absolutely. So let's start with the user, because we like to start with the people who actually have to use the device every day.
Right.
And there's a couple things, and you just touched on a word I want to dig into a little bit, and that's safety.
Mm-hmm.
One of the really key benefits for the end user, the frontline worker wearing our glove, is safety and ergonomics. Safety. I'm completely hands-free. I'm not trying to juggle multiple things in my hands. If I need to use my hands to protect me from something, I have the ability to do that. We introduced a feature in our software that we did give away to all of our customers for free, which is a proximity sensor. So I can have immediate feedback if I'm too close to another worker and in violation of any kind of safety requirements based on some of the new work guidance and work rules that we have.
Yeah.
We introduced that to our own team so they could keep a safe distance, and realized all of our customers could benefit from it. So we just turned it on for everybody, which I think is really, really important. And people ask, why aren't you charging for it? It's like, because we care about the worker first, and that's really important. But
let me stop you right there for a second, because I'm curious now. So you send it out to your customers, right? So I'm guessing the software itself is like a cloud base, and you just push out like this update.
Yeah. So I should be really clear. Specific is good. Any customers of ours who have Android devices,
okay,
with our PG Connect software on it, have access to it right away, and that's the majority. It's the majority of our customers. And on our device, we didn't talk about this, but again, I'm trying to bring together your question around what's the benefit for the customer.
Sorry,
the end user. The scanner itself has multiple features around giving feedback to the user. So there's audio feedback, so it'll buzz. There's haptic feedback, it can vibrate. There's visual feedback in multiple different ways. There's lights that will indicate whether something was a positive scan or a negative scan. And we also introduced a feature that included a display on the back of the scanner, so immediate input can be sent to the user to either say, here's the next job that needs to get done, or was that code, was that scan done correctly? I mean, it really can be configured in any number of different ways, but depending on the use case. But now I've got the ability to send updates, firmware and software updates to the RPG Connect software on an Android device, have the proximity sensing capabilities, and I'm able to give feedback to anybody who's using the device through any of those means, any of those user feedback mechanisms. So that gives the person who's deciding what needs to happen in the field. So what's the benefit for the company? I'm a line manager and I want to make sure my employees are safe. Great. Anytime you hear that buzz, you're too close. Anytime you scan in this particular fashion, you know that the scan was done correctly and you can move forward with the next job. So hopefully that kind of rounds out the question. We gave it to people for free because we felt so strongly that we wanted to make sure people had access to it. And the immediate benefit was the health and safety of the frontline worker and the confidence of the line manager that they could give the that extra level of care to their employees.
We'll be back after a quick break.
You hear a lot about supply chains these days, because if the past couple years have taught us anything, it's that an efficient, well-managed supply chain is absolutely critical to keeping businesses successful and consumers happy. I'm Will Haywood and I host a podcast called All Business, No Boundaries, where we talk about supply chains, how they work, what happens when they don't, and the innovations that are redefining what's possible in the world of logistics. Join me for insightful interviews with thought leaders and industry experts. We discuss how optimizing supply chains can break down the barriers that are holding businesses back. That's All Business, No Boundaries by DHL Supply Chain. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, and I think that's really a really great thing that you guys did, and I think it's a really interesting feature as well, as you touched on, all the different kind of rules we have now, right, regarding like social distancing and things of that nature. So it's interesting to see how, I guess, companies are adapting to this different environment, and it's good to see companies like you guys providing solutions to help them do this, because working in a warehouse and trying to maintain social distance is difficult at times, because there's work areas where you end up in the same place. You have picks. We're talking about using scanning devices. You're picking in the same areas. You have a hot running product, and you're going to have more than one person there. So it's a good thing to give that reminder to people, kind of like a interesting little tap, I guess, on the shoulder from the glove, right, saying like, hey, you're too close. So that's definitely pretty cool. So talk to us a little bit too about I guess from the software side and integration standpoint. You guys recently partnered with Staylink on their Staylink IO platform, I guess. And so talk to us a little bit about what does that actually mean, and what does the partnership entail, and how does it kind of improve your overall offering?
I would love to talk about that, but first I want to answer a question. I want to get back to the question you asked me prior, if you'll afford me that. Sure. Because one of the benefits of our device for our users is one that I just think is important, and that is the weight of our device from an ergonomic standpoint is so feather light that it's almost the difference of carrying a car during your shift versus carrying a feather. on your ship. So when you talk about why is it good for why is it good for an employee, you can think about the repetitive nature of scanning and the stress it puts on the body when you're doing that same activity over and over again, and you're carrying something that is so heavy in a traditional scanner, or constrained if you are using a ring scanner. You're not able to use full dexterity in your hands. So you've got the weight, the lack of dexterity, the stress on your gripper. When you're holding something constantly, it's pretty powerful when you step back and you realize that by simply changing the device to something that's wearable and gives you that complete hands-free, how liberating it is for the frontline worker. The immediate transfer to the company and why that is so powerful and what they get as a benefit is they have fewer errors in scans. They have less injury to the workforce. It's incredibly easy to learn how to use and to adapt into any process. So we have most people from unpacking to use in less than a day when it comes to the straight scanner. And then we have partners like Ivanti and then Staylinked and others that we're working with to enhance our product through those software connections to create to enhance what the product can do in the operations of the business at hand. And I'll pause there just to see if I answered fully your question about the benefit for companies and then the user of the product. Because I really like that question, and I wanted to answer it completely for you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the benefits of it are pretty clear. I mean, I think there's kind of I don't want to say new in a sense, but this overall, I guess, idea that being user-centric, right, creating a better experience for the user is now giving this overall benefit to the company, which I think you guys are doing. I mean, just by creating a hands-free scanning device that's truly hands-free, you are going to increase productivity just right out of the gate. Because it's, you look at, like you said before, you look at, using a regular handheld scanner, RF gun or something of that nature. I mean, you're not hands-free. So you're going to pick it up, scan, put it down, pick up your item. Maybe you got to scan your item too. You're going to pick it back up again. You're going to forget what the screen says. So you're going to pick it back up again and look at it. With the scanner right there like that, I mean, it's pretty amazing. I mean, I watched the video with Planzer, right? And, I can see how they just scan and right from the forklift as well, where a lot of times you have to get off your machine to scan into a location, things like that. So, I mean, the benefits are pretty amazing. And I think the emphasis on the feather lightweight, as you mentioned, is just, I mean, that's a big deal, because you see some things like wrist wearables and things of that nature. I mean, they can be pretty heavy sometimes, and they can create fatigue and even, ergonomic issues, and over time, strain as well. So it's good that you guys have taken all those things into account. And I'm curious too, actually, as we're talking about it, how does it, so the scanner itself, I mean, is linking to another device, I guess, that's driving it from the operations, whatever warehouse management system it is they may have. So it's Bluetooth or it's wireless? How is it connecting?
Yes and yes.
Yes and yes. Okay.
It really depends on the different operations. So some of our customers have closed environments where Bluetooth isn't an option, and we offer an access point that does wireless transmission data. There are others that have fully embraced Bluetooth, and we offer a Bluetooth solution as well. The real thing for us, again, going back to that customer-centric thing, is what in each of the different use cases that we see our customers using us, what do they need? What is their environment like? And then we've adapted our connectivity solutions to meet the needs of those environments. We've got Bluetooth has taken on like hot cakes, if you can imagine, right? As people are adapting into Bluetooth in the warehouse and distribution centers, in retail outlets, everywhere, really. And we recognize that it's a critical connectivity solution, and we've embraced it and have seen quite a bit of success with it. And the success comes in the form of a lot of partnerships. So you may have seen, you've mentioned a couple so far, right? You mentioned Stay-Linked. We also have one with Samsung, where we paired up their rugged smartphone with our scanner to bring a solution to the retail community. And it really took on, because now you have a very slim, lightweight, rugged smartphone coupled with a featherlight handheld scanner, wearable scanner, and you can decouple, untether your workforce from behind a terminal somewhere stationary in a retail outlet and have them move about. You can, if whether it's e-commerce and you're trying to move people and data out into the line, and they don't have to keep coming back to a central location, or if this was pre-COVID, when people were starting to use these solutions in retail outlets and getting away from a cash register or a customer service desk and actually being out and in with the customer, you can imagine the freedom that comes with that. So I'll dig into, you asked about one of our partners, and I want to talk a little bit more about our approach to this solution and bringing our products to market. We've made a decision, and a very specific one, to really form our solutions in ways that meet what actually is going on out in the market. And what we've seen is no two warehouses are alike. No two logistics centers are the same. Everybody is looking for ways to improve their processes with whatever business models they've adapted to. And that means that we need to be the best partner with the solutions that are already adopted. So we're going after a heterogeneous, completely partner agnostic approach, where we're focusing on what do our customers have and what do the customers need in order to be successful. So some players out there are like, it has to be everything ours, all of our solutions together solves your problem. And when was the last time you've ever been into any place where 100% of everything is the exact same brand, model, make, version? No. It's rare.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that, and that can be such a headache too, because if it ends up being like that, you run into limitations in certain places, and so it's good that you guys are open.
We've chosen to partner with some players like Stay-Linked, and you asked what they do, and what they're really doing is helping to develop mobile interfaces that pair with logistic management systems, right? So they're taking the data that we capture from the scan and ensuring that it is appropriately paired up with whatever logistic system the company at hand has. And you mentioned that you saw the video with Ponzer, right? These are decades-long investments in many cases to build out a robust logistics systems. So you need a partner like ProGlove and Stay-Linked to come in and work with your already existing investments. And that's so important. Digital transformation in supply chain and logistics is really still in its nascent stage, and people have been talking about it for more than a decade, or if not two. But yet only a handful have completely done the transformation. So many are working through that and investing right now in solutions that will help them meet their specific needs. And we're going to be there with the right partner to work within that customer's design.
That's great. Yeah. And I think the overall thing that I'm taking away from your comments there is that you have to have this flexibility, and I think that you guys are having the flexibility, like you talked about your approach to the partnerships. I think that's really the key right now, and really the key into moving into the future from like a distribution company's standpoint as well. And just improving their overall supply chain. And so you talk a little bit about digital transformation there, and as we're going through digital transformation and of warehousing and industry 4.0, and like you said, over the last couple of years, it's really it was a discussion for the past 10 years, but really in the past couple years recently, things have really accelerated. If we just look at, ProMed and Modex in the last 2 years, the things that you see there are just, some of them are like, oh, I can't believe this is like a reality now. But it's been really interesting, and ProGlove is now being a part of that Industry 4.0 and digital transformation as well. So talk to us a little bit about, I guess, how ProGlove has been able to align itself with the transformation, and how can people incorporate it into their own transformation. And you touched on too there where you're talking about pre-COVID, but what's going on, I guess, in terms of digital transformation within the current climate with COVID, and then moving into, I guess, post-COVID. If that's a thing, we'll see what happens. But talk to us a little bit about the whole transformation, how you guys are involved, and how things are now in the current climate.
Sure. You packed a lot in there, so I'm going to try to unpack some of it.
Yeah, that was a long question, right?
You kind of got my brain going, I got to admit. I was at Modex this year, and it was actually the last event I went to before things started to kind of...
Yeah, that was the week everything happened. We were there too, and it just... it was pretty crazy to see it all just kind of... all of a sudden, just everything. Yeah.
Totally. So what I noticed there, and I was at NRF earlier in the year, which was in full swing, right? That was totally, all guns blazing on that one. In both instances, what I noticed and what I took away, and again, reinforced why ProGlove is such a phenomenal place to be, is the amount of robotics and automation and a lot of forward-thinking, high-tech ideation going on, right? And it was stunning. Some of it is just absolutely beautiful and magnificent when you think about the creativity and engineering that goes into so many of these potential solutions that people can now choose from. But in every single one of them, without a human involved, they stop. The last mile doesn't get completed. Yeah. And in many cases, the lack of human involved in the technology created more work downstream than people might have expected. And I was just struck that humans are the center of the workforce. No matter how much we talk about automation and robotics and all of this great innovation, humans are still essential and core. And I've followed up that line of thinking by doing my own research and see that some of the great inventors that we still talk about today, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, just to name a few, I'm sure you've heard of them, right? These guys
I've heard of them,
have come to the realization that humans aren't going away, that the trying to create a completely automated robotic workforce is decades away at best, right? And with that in mind, pre and post COVID, I don't see that changing. If anything, I think COVID has reinforced that humans are essential. Humans are the very essence of our workforce, and we need people who are able to do everything from the beginning to end of any given process, and where we place them next to technology that augments them, that gives better results from a process standpoint, amazing benefit can occur. But if you try to eliminate humans from the workforce, there's a lot of investment that's interesting, but not really yielding the results that we would have expected. So to me, that those events, the beginning of the year, really reinforced for me that the whole human-centric design and focusing on the human. Post-COVID, I'm calling it the postmodern supply chain, is really interesting, because as we're assessing the readiness of so many industries and so many of our supply chain members, a lot of us weren't prepared. Right. Who would have predicted a global pandemic of this scale with no end in sight and such disruption? I'm sure one or two did. I was not one of them. I will be honest.
Me neither, actually.
So here we are in a world that's given shine a light on where we need to shore up our skill sets, where we need to invest from a human workforce, where we need to augment that workforce with technology that matters, and then thinking through the safety and health and security of both of those things, both the technology and the humans. I think that's going to be a lot of focus moving forward. Is process reengineering, streamlining, introducing technology that augments and not necessarily replaces, and finding ways for us to scale quickly. I mean, I'm looking at some of the numbers out there and companies wanting to hire 50,000, 100,000, 150,000 people in an incredibly short amount of time.
Right.
That means that you need to equip these people, you need to train these people, and then you need to make sure that you have the data and analytics to know the efficiency and efficacy of that workforce. So data is going to be so critical post-COVID, because that's how we'll get the intelligence and insight into what to do next.
Definitely, yeah. And I think post-COVID is it's such a hard thing to define, and it's such everybody that talked to him, asking them about what do they think things are going to be like, and it's so hard and so difficult to say, because we really don't know. But I think you had a really good point about there's really nobody that could have predicted something like this and this widespread and have this big of an impact happening. So I think that there's definitely going to be a lot more going into being prepared, I guess, for something like this to happen again. So it'll be interesting to see. But I think you guys have the right approach, and the way that you're being flexible with the partners and everything is definitely the way to go. And since we're talking about COVID, actually, I was just thinking in my head here. I'm curious for the wrap itself, right? Because now sanitization has become such a big deal, right? And I guess it always should have been, but now it's under a microscope, right? So the wrap itself. I mean, typically, will an operation get, I guess, an individual wrap for each person, or how does that work?
Sure, it really depends on the use case. So pre-COVID, it was probably a little bit more loose, of course. Right. The wrap, because remember, I was talking about how some people can wear their own glove underneath it. So some might wear leather gloves or sticky gloves or whatever type of glove, and then put the wrap around it. Then the hygiene becomes less critical, because you're not actually you're touching it, but with not sweating in it or anything like that. Right. What we've heard from our customers and what we're seeing acting out in the field is a more one-to-one purchase, so one wrap per employee, which makes sense. And even pre-COVID, it probably made more sense, let's be honest. But one of the things, again, going back to the hygiene, if you're sharing a pistol scanner, one that, like, I pick it up and I put it down and the next employee comes and picks it up and puts it down, you start to get the sense of, well, gosh, how many times have how many different people touched that thing? I know. And you can go, well, okay, now you flip over to the wearable, and I'm wearing a wrap, and I can take the scanner itself and detach it from the wrap, and we do have cleaning protocols for that, and we have videos so people can see how to do and how easy it is. But now I'm not sharing a device, and the touching of the device is minimized, and in some instances even eliminated, depending on how people are what their protocols are for attaching them. But we are totally spot on. It really does reinforce that as individuals, we need to take care of each other, and here's a mechanism to do that, because it's a wearable personal device.
Definitely, yeah, and I think that's I think it's really good that you guys have taken the initiative to create the videos as well that you mentioned. So we definitely would love to share that with the audience as well. So I'm curious now, as we wrap things up here, what does the future of ProGlove look like? What do you guys have, I guess, in mind for the future of the company and the solution?
Sure. I'll start with the beginning and get to the end. So we started out wanting to make the best wearable experience possible.
Okay.
And I think we've achieved that. I mean, we're going to keep innovating on it and keep getting customer feedback. But right now, I'm super confident that our wearable technology and the device itself has achieved the goal of the best wearable solution out there.
Mm-hmm.
The second goal that the team set out to do was to have it be the easiest plug-and-play software, so that you could be from unpackaging the device to setting up the connectivity, just plug and play. And that has been achieved. We wanted to be as simple and easy and non-complex as possible, so hyper-focused on plug and play from a connectivity standpoint. I believe that one's been achieved as well.
Okay.
The thing that we're tackling next is really around that insight and analytics. We're working on a product called ProGlove Cloud. We introduced it in the spring, and we're unveiling the full features this fall. And what it will allow people to do is to get the metadata and data from the scan and start to build intelligence around what's happening on the shop floor. So imagine taking all of this information from location to gyroscoping to the scanning itself and putting it together and constructing a digital roadmap of your shop floor to see where processes can be scaled up or made more efficient.
Okay.
And then through our partnership and open ecosystem, we can collect data from other wearable devices and connect back into warehouse management systems and analytics tools that are already in use. Really, that's really the super important thing is we know people have already invested in their WMSs and their logistics systems. We're not looking to replace those. We're looking to connect with those and feed them with the information and intelligence that will make the company and the operations teams much more efficient and smarter about what's happening on the floor. So we have a concept of the human digital twin and then the shop digital twin, and bringing those two together so you can get a complete picture of what's happening in the operations in real time with real data that's showing your operations in action.
That's great. Yeah. I think that's going to be awesome because it's so important to understand, the patterns of your operators, and because being able to visualize it can really give you a sense of where you have some kind of problems in terms of, I guess, like a bottleneck, so to speak. So you can kind of move things around or reslot your products based on that, and just create a better efficiency overall. And I think, like you said earlier too, going into the post-COVID or the postmodern supply chain, as you said, data is going to be such a pivotal point into being able to make the proper changes and make them with an educated decision as well. So really, really interesting stuff, and ProGlove, very, very cool solution. I like it a lot. So hopefully next year, if you guys are at ProMat, and we do ProMat in person, we'll be able to check it out and give it a feel, or not feel it at all. As you say, you can't feel it, right? So so we'll see. But how can people find out more information about ProGlove?
Absolutely. So ProGlove is very active on LinkedIn. You can find us there, ProGlove, simple. You can find me there as well, Tracy Hansen. Love to engage in any conversation, answer any questions, follow up, what have you. You can also go to ProGlove.com. We are available in the US, all over Europe, and expanding pretty quickly. So delighted for people to check us out and reach out if you have any questions. Okay. And I will take you up on ProMat next year. I'd love to meet you in person and share our progress. Definitely.
I'd be happy to see you there. Be happy to see, anybody in person, really, after all this. So we'll see, and fingers crossed that that happens. And we'll definitely post more information about ProGlove. We'll put some pictures and videos up at thenewwarehouse.com as well. So Tracy, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the new warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the new warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.